All right, chapter 3.1 gets into inequalities. It's solving a lot of this. In a lot of this chapter, I did look at the test just now, and the good news for you, for all of you, is that the actual solving portions, the rules you learned, are about the same, which means those of you who already know the rules, just make sure you remember them, and those of you who are still learning them, make sure you get some work in to try to get caught up. The unfortunate part is, again, like I was trying to push you in chapter 2, is that the chapter 3 test is not a part of quarter 1, which means that you can't use this test to lift up your grades. But do remember that this Friday is the last day for you to make up anything, so make sure you get that taken care of. And it's actually Friday morning would be it, because there's nothing after school for Friday that allows you to make up anything. So again, you have every day before school, and you have Monday, Tuesday, Thursday after school. You just gotta let me know what you plan on doing so I can try to get that to the tutor if you're going after school. Other than that, this is a quick but extremely important lesson on graphing solutions of inequalities. Just be sure to get the most out of it, because again, the material from this is going to follow almost every problem you work out for the chapter. An inequality is a symbol that represents a range of values compared to a number. Less than is this symbol. I think you need to be writing that in your notes here. The way I remember less than is that if I took a L for less than and bent this forward and bent this down, it actually looks like the less than. So it actually opens up in the same direction as a L, which is how I remember that is the less than symbol. Greater than, of course, goes the opposite direction. Less than or equal to, which is important, is that this part is the half portion of the equal sign. So again, less than or equal to means it's less than, and you have the equal portion. You also have greater than or equal to, which again is the greater than symbol with the bottom line on the equal sign. So we have to learn how to determine direction and type. In order to do this, you do have to study, you do have to practice, but again, hopefully you're figuring out what this is about, and you are knocking this out as you go. So why is it important for me for the variable to be in front? Well, if the variable is on the left or the front of the number, then the symbol points in the proper direction. So this information I'm giving you here only works when the variable is in front or on the left. And so when your variable is on the left, this means go to the right. And you can tell if you look at the way this is pointing and the way that's pointing, they're both pointing to the right. This symbol means go to the left. So again, look at the way that's pointing, look at the tip of the arrow. So that's kind of how you would tell that. There are also two types of circles that we have to use. Open circle if the value is not included. Not included means that if I say that x is greater than 6, that means that numbers like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 are all included. 6.0001 is also included, but 6 is not included because 6 is not bigger than 6, which is why 6 would not work, and so you can't use it. If I said that x is less than 3, numbers like 2, 1, 0, anything smaller than 3 works, but you cannot put a 3 into this statement because 3 is not smaller than itself, which is why these do a open circle. So again, when we go to graph these in just a little bit, you'll find out that this is open because the number can't be included in that statement. Closed circle is used if the value is included. Again, in this situation, if I say that x is less than or equal to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all those numbers go. But because of this equal sign, I can use the 6 because of this part. So 6 actually does work, which is why 6 would be included, which is why we will close our circle in those problems. Outside of that, just take your time, and again, things get a lot easier with practice. Your homework assignment I don't think is that bad. I do give you a good amount of questions, but I think they're more concept and thinking questions. Just make sure again that you try to work those out as soon as you can and try to start getting ahead. Graphing each inequality here. Here, what we're going to do here is you do not need to draw a number line for me. Some teachers want you to. I don't need that because in the higher level they're not going to make you do an actual number line. You just need to know the relationship of the numbers and make sure you label the key parts. First off, this is my number line. This is the number that I'm looking at, which is -9. I first off have to look and say, can I put a -9 in this and make it true? -9 is not less than -9, which is why we use a open circle. Alright. Then you use the fact that this is a arrow pointing left to highlight an arrow going to the left. Please make sure you highlight the arrow. Do not draw it like some of you are going to do it with an open circle and you'll do this, and I can't really see the difference between this side and that side. That is not how you highlight it. Make sure that your line is visible and that you can definitely see that it's going, that this side is highlighted and that side is not whenever you do it. Otherwise I will mark it wrong. So just be careful whenever you do that. Make sure you study or practice properly. Here again, number line 4 is our key number. Again, I cannot put a 4 here because 4 is not bigger than 4, so it's an open circle, and this is pointing to the right. The other thing is make sure there's an arrow. Again, what people also like to do is they like to do the open thing and then they go like this and then they stop. Well, if you stop, that means that there's a stopping point, which there is not. Every number that you can think of that's bigger than 4 works. 1 million, 2 million, 8 billion, 5 trillion, all those numbers, and the arrow indicates that the numbers keep going on forever and ever. 8 is greater than E. Now this is a tricky one because again, if you go to solve this, you'll be wrong because it does not point to the right. You now have to take the E, take the 8, recognize that this is pointing at E, and this is one of the things you're going to learn starting tomorrow when we do our solving stuff. If it's pointing at E, it must continue pointing at E, and so the sign flips, which is where people miss their graph because they don't put it on the proper side and they still go off to the right. But you notice that this is actually going to the left. Alright. U is less than or equal to 6. 6. Circle. Because of this line, it means that 6 does work, which is why this is filled in. And again, this is pointing to the left, so we want to make sure we fill it in and put an arrow at the top of it. Again, without the arrow, it does not count. And then the last one, -3 less than or equal to M. M is on the wrong side, so we want to take, flip, and put your -3. Label your -3. Because I can put a -3 in there because it's got the equal to part, it means that this is equal to that number. And then we go off to the right. Alright. You will be solving a lot of inequalities in this chapter. You're also going to be required to graph your answers. Just be sure to ask about any misunderstandings that you're having over the next week so we can get them under control. Again, the end of your quarter is coming next week. The end of your opportunity to fix all your homework is this week. Those of you who got to work out the extra credit, you should see that you have 100% on all of your chapter 2s because I rewarded your hard work. The rest of you, you have some work to do to make sure those grades don't affect you. But then keep in mind that your homework grade is only 5%, and that your quiz coming up this week is 35%. Your quiz coming up next week is 35%. So yes, you do want to work on your homework from chapter 2, but don't focus so much on something that's only 5% of your grade. If you want to really try to fix, the best thing to do is make sure your ed puzzles are taken care of, which I'm going to try to get those in by the time you come in, and that your and that your quizzes are good. So other than that, like I said, go on to your Math XL, begin working again. Hopefully you learned from last chapter that not doing your homework kind of hurts you a little bit and you make some changes. But other than that, good luck.